Okay everyone, as you can see I've finished stripping off the wallpaper apart from this little bit in the corner, which I think I'll just worry about when I come to tiling itself, because it's really difficult. And I started over there and finished over there behind the door, look. And I've had enough of removing wallpaper today, so I'm going to show you our plastering setup. As you can see, we've plastered in, we filled in, all around where the skating board used to be. It's kind of a, touch and go sort of thing, because we weren't quite sure how we were going to do it. And, obviously a bit more needs to go in here. What I was going to do is put some mesh over here, some chicken mesh, and plaster onto that like what they've done. You see there's mesh already here. I've got it here. I've got a sheet of actual agricultural mesh, and then I've got a little rolly of whatever this stuff is. So I might use both, one or the other, don't know yet. Or I'll throw it under the floor. What I'll show you right now is plastering. Now this is the last little bit of skirting board that we've got to fill in for when we put the tiles in. And it's nice and accessible in a nice little corner. And I thought I'd show you how I've been doing it with this. It's a nice little quick doodah. So first of all, we've got to make the area ready. I don't want to be, I know this place isn't the cleanest, but I don't want to be, chucking wet thistle hardwall under the floor, because I'll have to chip it out with a bloody pickaxe afterward. What we do is we get some planks of varying sizes and descriptions, and a bit of flooring stuff here. Going to be a hazard. I think that's pretty good. And then we can get, I'm trying to avoid accidents rather than, repair the damage afterward. As silly as that sounds. Yeah, that'll do. And then, yes, that'll be fine there. No problems. Then we put our little bit of sheeting down. And you could use anything. This is kind of the wrong stuff to use, but we had it handy because we had to strip it out of somewhere. I forget where, but it's so tough. I mean, you could just use this like a dust sheet after you're done with it. Just a plastic, disposable sheet. Look, I'm saying that, I've just ripped a hole in it. Water, not really. So that's your area, basically. Do whatever you see. I mean, if you're plastering in a, nice cemented floor or whatever, then you don't got to worry about this. But this is just to stop it from going under here. Obviously plan, use your brain. You don't need to do this, but it's nice. Makes life a bit easier, and that's what it's all about. Now for the actual stuff we're using thistle hardwall, or rock wall, or whatever it is. I forget. Let's see what it is here, and this is our second bag. Oh, it is hardwall. I got it right first time. Yeah. And it's it's not a finishing plaster as such. Like, as you can see, it looks like shit when it's on the wall. Like, you couldn't paint onto this, but what it's really good at is making up a lot of, it's almost like a sort of blancmange type stuff. It can really, fill in a lot of spaces. And you could use this, or you could use, filler, or there's a number of things you could use. I'm just trying to remember some of them. Some of the other things I could use. I mean, you could actually use actual filler, but this is a bit tougher than that stuff. You make it up and it's all, like white powder. This is a bit more water resistant, which is what we want for tiles and grout and God knows what we're going to put on the wall. And there was another one. Oh, I forget what it is now. There was either this stuff, or we could have bought something else in a big 20-kilogram sack. But I forget what it is. It'll come to me when I've finished recording, I'm sure. Let's move this out of the way. Now, obviously this isn't like a super duper big job. We can't have one of those machines that actually mixes the the plaster for you, and and you get it like a little piping bag hose sort of thing, and you just splooge it on the wall and have somebody making good as you go around, and do a you know, basically this whole house in like 10 minutes. But what we have got, you know, to make life easy is we've got this bucket, we have another bucket, and that's important because one person can be mixing while the other person does the actual putting the muck on the wall. And obviously when we were doing this, like I was whacking it on the wall, and my grandfather, my helpful assistant, you know, was mixing it up for me, which is handy. And that brings me on to another point. If you're not sure about something, or you know, you're trying something for the first time, you know, ask somebody who knows, and you know, get somebody to help you out who's done it before and that sort of thing. You know, that's why I had my grandfather help me, because there's nothing that he hasn't done really. And yeah, so now we're getting into the crux of it. You notice that the plastic sheeting is down on the carpet for the entirety of the walkway. I could have had a bit more coverage here, but we're a bit sparse with this stuff because it's £30 a roll. Until we come to the balcony, and there's another bit of master planning I've done. I've fitted a tap out there. That is a mains tap. And a nice, you know, nice hose pipe as well. And it's really handy, you know, for you know, watering the plants and whatnot. But it's also very good for mixing up stuff. And we're going to use this more and more. When we come to, you know, tile, obviously we'll need to mix up the adhesive. And I was thinking of actually putting a plasterer's bath out there and mixing up all the tile stuff in that, because we'll have a lot of it. Because all that, you know, all that stuff I was showing you earlier, all where that wallpaper is stripped, basically is where we're going to tile. How about that? We're through. Why these doors have to be locked, I don't know. It's not like the neighbours are going to climb across. It's a bloody, you know, there's no neighbours. Anyway, whew, like I was saying, fitted a tap here, nice and handy, so we can mix up our stuff outside like so. And it's useful for, you know, washing out the guttering and doing whatever else it is that you got to do. Another stroke of master planning on my part. And obviously we've got this extension lead out here, which I haven't mentioned yet, but I will, because you know, I'll be fucked if I'm going to mix all this stuff by hand, especially when we come to do the tiling. No way, I ain't a sucker. No, what we're going to do is we're going to plug in our electric mixing machine, and I'll show you that in a sec. And when you're mixing stuff like this, always put a bit of water in there, because it stops the dust from going everywhere, and it, you know, helps keep the lumps down. And that's true of plaster, screed, or anything else. Obviously, you won't be mixing it in a tiddly little bucket like that. You'll be mixing it in an, oh my god, trough or rubber bucket or whatever. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, electric mixer. Don't mix it like by hand like a sucker. You can buy an electric mixer, but instead of doing that, because this is a shoestring operation, we've got this very nice Black & Decker, back when Black & Decker was Black & Decker and not Crap & Decker like it is now. Very nice dog's bollocks drill. This one can be kept on all the time. It's got a nice handle. It used to have another handle there, which was like a piece of half-inch conduit or something, but we lost that. Well, my grandfather did. He probably lost it before I was born. We haven't been able to find it, so this will do. And you just buy the mixing end, look. You know, obviously you wouldn't put this in an 18-volt cordless drill, but in there it goes. And you can buy ones that actually have a proprietary fitting for the mixing machines, so be careful you don't get caught out with that. I'll just get my chuck key out here a sec. Do this up. There we go, it fits. How about that? Nice and tight. And there you have it. There is your mixer. Nice low speed, high torque drill. It's very heavy as well because it's made of metal. Yeah, made properly. I don't mean, you know, these modern tools are all made of plastic, but I don't know. I think plastic's only really suitable for separating my chocolates, rather than doing You know, serious stuff. And I've just realised I've left the plaster in the bathroom, haven't I? You know, the actual stuff what I was going to mix, which is frustrating. But at any rate, obviously, you know, check that it's not raining before you get mains equipment outside. We'll just lean that up there, plug it in, I'll let you see it running. And yeah, we've got a few old drills like this. Some of them need overhauling, and I was going to do videos on them, but you know, time makes fools of us all. But watch this. Yeah, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. Nice sturdy handle. And yeah, and this was what he was doing while I was putting it on the walls. And we had another bucket somewhere, a black one. And you know, I'd be using one bucket of muck, and he'd be making up the next one. And we got it done super quick that way. There we go. Close that over a bit so you don't get, you know, don't wake the grandparents with a nice cold draft. Now you want a nice wet rag handy for wetting the wall. That's why I brought it with me, to make it wet. Well, fuck knows how I'm going to carry it inside without it dripping everywhere, but cross that bridge when you come to it. Put the plaster away from the hose, not right next to it where you're going to be running it and having water splash everywhere. And yeah, and obviously if you were making up a serious amount, you'd just tip the bag straight in there. But we're not. We're you know, doing a bit of hobby plastering today. In fact, there's probably way more water than I actually need in there. So we'll probably end up with lots of plaster left over. Somebody's just texted me. Oh no, they're ringing me. Even better. Because, you know, I'm not busy or anything. Let's see who that is. Oh, it is. It's my grandfather. Hello? I'm on the balcony just about to mix some plaster. Oh, well, don't worry about it. I'll see you Tuesday. Yeah. Right. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get mixing. Been on the phone so long that it needs a bit more water now. Loads more water. I was afraid of it getting too sloppy, but it's not going to happen like that, is it? Now when you're doing this, you've got to be careful not to poke a hole in the bottom of the bucket, because when you come to fill up next time and make some more, you'll swear very loudly, and everybody else will around you as it dribbles all through the house. Ways you can avoid getting messy doing this. It's just one of those things, it's part of the course. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's go put it on the wall. I'll probably come out, get in there and find I haven't got enough. Just do that, give ourselves a few seconds head start if it starts to rain and I've got to rush out and get the plaster in quickly in the mains lead. Get that water on the wall. And it's important to wet the wall because the bricks will soak up the moisture from the plaster even. Sorry, I'm having a bit of trouble focusing at the minute. Anyway, the bricks will soak up the moisture like a sponge. I don't know if I filmed the cement work over there. Can't remember, but I did the same thing. It was the same thing. We had to dab this all with, any time you're putting, you know, wet muck near the bricks, you kind of need to do this, at least in my experience, just because it gets, you know, it dries out and falls off the wall otherwise. So we'll get that. We've got our 2 scrapers in there. Tickety boo. We can shut this now because it's not all steamy in here from... I had this window open despite the fact it's, you know, December. I had this window open because of the bloody steam in here. It's like a sauna. It's falling off my thing, but that's just because I'm a slowpoke. No, that's fine. So yeah, I did get the consistency right after all. Obviously if it was a bigger wall it might be a problem, but that's the sort of thing you want. You want it to go like that. You want it to have a bit of clinginess to it. You know, if I seem unsure of myself, it's only because I've done it twice before, you know, doing all this. And if you get it wrong, it's not actually a serious problem because you can just go back over your work. Like I think it was over there, we couldn't actually get it to stick, even though I was making it, you know, or had it made to the perfect consistency. We still couldn't get it to quite stick, and it was like, oh no, what we're gonna do? And you know, and we just thought, let's just, you know, do 2 coats of the stuff as such. Oh god, I don't want to put that in there because I'll pull it out when it's dry and half of it will come with it. Oh, and the architrave's coming up, that's not good. Now this isn't, like I said before, this isn't a finishing plaster. You can't paint onto this. It's not meant to look smooth and lovely. It's meant for exactly what I'm using it for here. Building out the wall. This will be used if you, you know, say you take a load of tiles off a wall in an old Victorian building and you get, you know, you get to underneath the tiles and it's, oh my god, it's all knobbly and horrible, you know, brickwork everywhere. You know, a little bit like here actually, except we're not replastering the walls, but yeah, that's what it's for. In fact, I can show you an example of where this is used properly. If we put this to one side for a minute, this plaster, if you look here, you see this hole in the plaster? This is the finishing plaster. This is the kind of stuff you can paint onto. And you see this stuff underneath? This sort of knobbly, nasty stuff? That isn't the wall, that is hard wall type plaster. That's for building it out and making it more, you know, making it ready for your finishing plaster. There's 2 different types of plaster you use for the wall. And that's what, this stuff here is what we're using there. We're going to tile over this, so it doesn't matter about the finishing plaster. But anyway, let's carry on. Yeah, squidge as much of it in there as you can. Don't worry too much about neatness at this stage, especially if you're just doing it for the first time. Or the first couple of times. Now we've got to get some in there. I don't think, no, this isn't wide enough. This is where, you know, being an amateur home gamer talk, you know, you get shot in the foot because you don't have the right bits to get in there with. I've got a corner tool out there, but it won't get past the architrave, will it? So, yeah, lots of fun. So we're going to try this. Get it in there. Load it up and stick it in there. It's not working. Well, it is. It is. The next thing after this is just using my fingers, but I don't want to resort to that yet. It's starting to get in there, but I don't know how I'm going to finish this actually, because it's not, like I can't get something straight in there other than this little doodah to do it. Actually no, that's not too bad. I'm getting the hang of it now. Here we go. That's looking better, isn't it? Actually, yeah, if I do it like that, scrape it off. Sorry about this, you know, the architrave and that, but not a lot else other way I can do it because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. There we go. That's starting to look, you know, we've gone from quarter-arse effort to half-arse effort. That's how good it's looking. Try and get that corner in where it actually is. It's a little bit trickier to do this bit, and I thought this would be a nice easy little spot to do just to show you how I've been doing it. But fucking hell, It's trial by fire. Getting performance anxiety now. I'm like, fucking hell, what if I piss this up? It'd be on the internet for the world to see. I'll never get work as a plasterer now. Now that the secret's out. Now, if you're doing a bigger wall, say like over there, and it's really important to get it flush, let's flick this off for the minute. Let's just neat that up there. Let's use the, whatever this is, the float I think it's called. Again, I'm showing my professionalism. Now, it doesn't really matter in this corner, but I'll show you anyway. If you wanted to get this flush with the wall, it's like here's the wall, for instance, and you notice how this can come down, and you notice how it's like there's not a lot of room, and as we get to the bottom, it comes out, and there's room there. And that would be a problem if we were tiling right down to the joists, but we do have 20mm thickness floor, so we're actually only going to be about here by the time the actual stuff goes on. Which is actually a good point, because I could put the stuff in there. But basically what you're trying to do, you get a straight edge like a piece of wood, or you could actually use the actual tool for this is a derby. But a piece of wood will do, or a spirit level if you've got a cheap nasty one that you don't mind covering in plaster. But, you know, for God's sake, don't borrow anybody else's nice spirit level and do it. But you run that down the wall, and obviously this stuff would be wet, and you'd push off the excess. You know, you can see these lines here. That's what it is. It's my plank going across, doing that. I'll do that now, actually. I'll try and show you it on wet stuff. You see, that's actually pretty good. You can see where it's catching the top there. That's what it's for. And then you'd flick your excess off into the bucket, take your float, and come up again. And that's how you get it to be, you know, not all blotchy and knobbly, and actually, you know, because if you don't do that, you could make the wall worse than what it was in the first place. If you have big blobs of it here and there and it's not level, you know, you're not, you know, you're trying to achieve a flat surface so you can put tiles or finishing plaster on or something. And for that finishing plaster, you would need to get a plasterer in to do it. It's not easy. Like this, you can get the hang of it if you have a go, but fucking plastering, it takes a lifetime to learn. And more patience than what I've got, at any rate. But I think for a couple of little tiles, that'll do nicely. I'll try and... Shit. This is what the plastic sheet's for as well, for wiping and, you know, just general muck use. Just try and neaten that up a little bit. There's a little gap over there as well. Push that over to the other side. Can't get that in there. Yes, lovely. It's not a piece of art. You've not got to get crazy with it. In fact, what I'm doing is probably too much. Too much attention to detail for what effectively is a bit of shit in the corner. But yeah. And it is as easy as that.